And it's go time because it's showtime. And I was talking about this earlier. You know what? Tick tock goes the clock. Ticking in my head, bro. TPV Nation, everybody, we are live from the Static Planet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you, wherever you are right now. I hope you got a tasty beverage in hand, at least a sandwich. You got Fido, the family dog, next to you. You got Grandmama out of bed as well. You plucked her down. You put her teeth in the right way so she doesn't eat herself to death, because we are live and we're happening. Kyle Mangus is there. Oh my God, hello. Hi sign already to all people. Jeanette, the Facebook user, saying, hi guys, we can't see your name. Please say who you are. That's right, Dale. What a show we have in store tonight. Hot off of Pot of Grass Parafest 5. We just got done doing that. You were there representing, shaking babies, kissing hands, as they say. All that good stuff. You're getting it done. There's Sarah Jane, of course, from the Get Haunted crew. And of course, we are blessed to be part of #blessed, thankful, grateful, humble to be part of the Get Haunted Paranormal podcast program. Sarah Jane, thank you very much to Rob and everybody that's part of this. That helps to get us out. And of course, many other podcasts out, an opportunity to be seen and heard the way it should be. Everybody has room in the sandbox. Learn that line from Sarah Jane, and nothing can be further from the truth. And of course, we are live right here, right now on Facebook. We are live right here, right now on YouTube. And of course, there will be a replay. You can listen to it only on KGRA Digital. That is worldwide every Saturday night at 1 a.m. Dale, Pot of Grass for Pooches, Pot of Grass Parafest, Tim Miley, Murray's Legacy. How was that?
Oh, we had a spectacular 2 days hanging out up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with everybody attending the Potographs event this year. Like I said, they had a stacked speaker roster. I mean, it started at 5 o'clock on Friday evening, and we went till about 8 o'clock Friday, and then Saturday morning, 9 a.m., hit the ground running. I'll tell you, what an amazing event. People were really excited to be there. We had lots of fun. We were hanging out. Got to sit next to our good friend, the lovely Miss Mary Bassett, who was hanging out right next to me all weekend. It was a lot of fun. It was good to catch up with the Para family. And Tim and Lauren and Todd put on one hell of an amazing event. Like, I mean, wow. I mean, I was just tired watching those two just run around. But yeah, no, it was an absolutely amazing event. Like, the whole weekend went off spectacular. They ended up raising $7,000 for the animal shelter. So good for everybody who showed up, helped out, and really did their part. And like I said, it was most of all feeling really good about raising money for the animal shelters, hoping somebody that could find their Murray, because we all know the story of Tim Malley. And it's a heartbreaking story. So for everybody that was there this weekend, thank you to everybody who stopped by, talked to the TPV Nation. It was a lot of fun. It was just amazing, and it was just good. Like I said, it was the first event of the year. So we're now out of the gates. We are now galloping. We are on our rocket ship of a train going through the paranormal season. And coming up next, we do have the Midwest Parafest out there in Toledo, Ohio, with Chad and Heather Dye. That's going to be exciting. Can't wait to get out there, hanging out with some more para people. So if you want tickets for the Midwest Parafest, go over to MidwestParafest.com. Get your tickets today. Also, they got a special event happening. So right after the event happens Saturday night, they're going to have a dinner party happening. But you who are attending can click on and choose the para celebrity you would love to sit with. and be able to hang with
Wow.
and pick their brain later. I mean,
That's cool.
you can sit with Miss Mary Bassett herself. You can sit with Candace Isaacson. You can sit with Exie Suzanne Bruce Smith, Andrea Piron. I mean,
Oh my God.
all the speakers that are going to be there
Wow.
that weekend. Yeah, you can buy a
Good deal.
special ticket, dinner ticket, and sit right at the table so that you can hang out with all of these amazing people, pick their brain, ask questions, and you may never know what's going to happen. So that is the Midwest Bear Fest. It's coming up April 13th, right there in Toledo, Ohio, at the Oliver House. So come on down, hang out with us. Get your tickets, MidwestParaFest.com. And then right after that, we are doing our debut speaking at the Body, Mind, and Spirit event right there in Oxford, Michigan. Of course, hosted by the lovely Candace Isaacson and Exie Bruce Suzanne, or Exie Smith, Bruce, something like that. Anyways, Exie and Candace, they put on this amazing event out there in Oxford. So go over, check that out. That is a one-day event. I believe the doors open at 1 o'clock, goes till 6 o'clock. $5 to get you in the door, and it's all about. We're going to be speaking. Exie's going to be speaking. Candace, they're going to have other mediums there. They're going to have Reiki masters there. It's just an amazing event. So
there's going to be a pet psychic there. That's worth the price of admission in my head, because I got so many fur babies that have passed on. If I can take one photo and she sees something from one of them, I'd be a happy man all day.
Oh yeah, no, of course, yeah, no, it's an amazing event. So that once again is April 20th out there in Oxford, Michigan. It just go on Facebook, you can find it. It's called the Body, Mind, and Spirit event, Spring Fling, out there in Oxford, Michigan. So yeah, like I said, we got a lot coming up. April's right around the corner. I mean, it's scary to think already, but we're on the ground, boots running, and here we are. We have another spectacular guest coming our way.
Oh my God, dude! You want to? This is a guy. This guy's got gifts for days, right? Psychic abilities, mediumship abilities. This guy spent time talking with elementals. He's spent time speaking, he says, which I can't wait to hear these stories. Different dimensions. He's healed others through touch. Also something called burst energy. I'm excited to find out what that's all about. Along with that, he's done aura identification. We're just naming a few here. He also, on top of all that busyness, he hosts a show. It's called, and I love this name, this is amazing, Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book. So, like I like to say, brother, we are #blessed, thankful, grateful, humbled, to say the very least, to bring to all of you live right here on Facebook, YouTube, KGRA Digital Worldwide, the one and only Tom Springer.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Dale. Hey, Michael John. How you doing?
Good. Welcome aboard, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come on to the TPV Nation and allowing us to pick your brain and just find out, like, why didn't you learn this stuff in a school book? Like, I mean, I guess we would have all stayed in school if we could learn what we know now.
Right? I would still be in school if I could have been learning this stuff in the school book.
Absolutely. But no, thank you so much. It's such a great pleasure. I met Tom a little while ago. We were on the same podcast. Richie, I think it was Richie. No, it was Paranormal Blonde Roundtable, wasn't it?
Yes. Paranormal Blonde Roundtable. Yep.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. Just listening to you and getting to know you a little bit over there, that was a lot of fun. I'm like, man, we have to have this guy on because, wow, I mean, it's like I've watched your show in the past, and then it was like, wow, this guy's got some really good, interesting stuff. But I mean, how you came up into the paranormal. So we're gonna kick it right off from just like that. It's like, what got you into the paranormal?
Well, it's a very short story because I've actually only had my gifts for about 3 years. So I'm a newcomer, as they say, into the paranormal world. And I was actually invited along with a couple of my friends who were part of a paranormal investigation team. And they asked me and my wife to come along, and they said, hey, just come check it out. They really weren't inviting us to the team, but I just kind of wanted to see what they did, because we were really interested. And we ended up going to a location, and we set up all the equipment like everybody does, the cameras and everything else, kind of felt the area out, and nothing was really happening. Still trying to get our feet wet, planning to get things started. And all of a sudden I see this full body apparition walk into my line of sight. And I was like, well, that's different. And
Right.
and on our team we had a couple other mediums as well. And we were sitting there, and I start talking to the lady, and she starts talking back to me, and it's just a normal conversation, but I can see her. The two other mediums can see her, but the other people were like, is he randomly talking to himself? What's going on here? So then my medium's like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, oh, I'm talking to this lady over here, and this is her name, and this is what she looks like. And they're like, wait a minute, we can see her. Why can you? And I'm like, because she showed herself to me. And they were like, how long have you been able to do this? And I looked at my watch and I went, 10 seconds. So that was my introduction to the paranormal world. It was literally on my first full-blown weekend-long, so we actually stayed for 2 nights, investigation. And as we were going on, we found out that I had other abilities that were kind of presenting themselves to me. And I tell people it was like drinking from a fire hose. They did not introduce them to me slowly. They were like, here, have all these, and good luck figuring out what to do with them. Which is why Stuff I Never Learned was created, because I needed help trying to figure out how to deal with everything I was working with.
Wow. Because, I mean, to go there with trepidation and, not really, you're a believer, but not a believer. Can I say it like that? But you go there, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you don't believe? You're going to believe. And by the way, here, have all this. Thank you very much, and welcome aboard. Right?
Right. Yeah. Deny it now. Yeah, sure. Great. Thanks.
Wow. I want to say hello real quick to some people on the side. Stuart Gesselman, Jason Combs, Candace Isaacson, Jeanette S., Adam Weislick. I haven't seen you in a while, brother. You've been missed. Great to see you. Other people, we got a bunch of Facebook users. Say who you are, please, so we know who you are. Saying hello. We can't see the name through the StreamYard app that we're on. Jennifer Lindsay Palmer, love you, darling. Okay, I think I got everybody so far. Kathy Newman as well. She's saying good evening and hi to Tom. You got some fan base going on here, Tom. Thanks for bringing them over with us.
I'm seeing a couple of bleed over from my show that are coming over to say hi to you guys as well. So that's nice.
That's fantastic. Yes, thank you. Now you got abilities like we were saying. You got different areas that you've all of a sudden you found literally in a hot minute, right? So psychic, mediumship, and you've spoke to elementals. Can we touch on that for a quick minute?
Absolutely. That's one of my favorites. It turns out that one of my team leads, or one of my teammates, one of her protectors is a fire elemental. And she knew she had a fire elemental, but it has never appeared to her. And we were in the middle of something, and we knew that we were in an area where a portal was, and it was not an appreciative portal. It was not a friendly portal. Okay. And I watched her fire elemental step in front of the portal to stop anything evil that could come out of it to hurt us. And it basically stood there. And I started describing what it was doing. I'm like, hey, by the way, I don't know what this is, but I described it. She goes, seriously? You're just watching my fire elemental? And I'm like, oh, is that what I'm watching? And she's like, yeah. She goes, it's never presented itself to me. She goes, why can you see it? I'm like, I don't know. It just walked in and I started watching it. And then as other investigations happened, I was starting to identify other elementals, and they talk to me. So I can see, hear, and talk to them just like I am both of you here.
Wow, really?
They appear just as normal to me. And I've learned a lot about them through just trying to communicate with them. And I say try because they don't always feel like communicating. They're busy working. And so they don't, sometimes they will respond, sometimes they won't. It is not in their best interest to try to make friends. They could care less about making friends. But they do hold different roles, but ultimately they are built from the environment. They're not like from other dimensions or anything else like that. They're actually of the environment, of the earth itself, and they are doing what they need to protect the earth. That is literally what they're here for. So fire cleanses the earth, water heals and grows the earth, wind helps clear everything out of the air, and earth elementals literally will rebuild and just try to heal the earth when it's broken. And that's what it's there for. And they're all different sizes. So sometimes you'll be thinking, oh, an elemental is this size. No, you can have an elemental the size of a little fae, and you can have elementals the size of a hurricane. So they're all different, and they don't all look the same. Elementals come in different ethnicities is the best way I can describe it. An earth elemental does not always look like it's a bunch of boulder heads sitting around. If you are in an area like that, then that's what they're going to look like. That is their environment they are in. If they're in a wood environment, they will look like a wood person, or like a wood element, like a tree or something along those lines. So it really depends on where they're at, identifies what, best I can say, is ethnicity they are.
So what I want to ask to that,
Sure.
have you ever seen? Okay, so I guess two questions. So you mentioned portals. Oh my God, you've said so much stuff. You triggered all these questions. I love it. Oh my God, so much info. Man, it's amazing what you're sharing here. Have you ever seen an elemental where you're like, oh my God, that's terrifying?
Hold on. If you give me a second, I'll share with you what I look at. Because I actually asked them at one point, can you please show me what you look like? And they were gracious enough to let me see, if I can find it relatively quickly, what I see when I was taking pictures of it, or when I was actually out in Hawaii, as a matter of fact. And I was over there, and I was meeting up with a couple of people who I have associated with on my site. Joe Panohu runs Hawaiian Hauntings over there, and he's been doing this for years and years. And he took me out to go investigate some of the island areas where, like, King Kamehameha was at, their temple grounds and everything else like that. And I was waiting for them, and this earth elemental walked out straight into my vision and stood there as a protector. And we had a nice, wonderful conversation about that. And he enlightened me I was allowed to be there, but they were going to be watching us, and they did, very much so. So here's, it's kind of hard to see. Hopefully the camera will see it. I circled it, but you can see the lighter green. All of that was that kind of yellowish green color. And when I asked it to appear, it turned itself to that bluish green leaf color at night, so I could actually see its outline with its head and its arms and everything else. And that thing right there is about 12 feet tall. And then the other one that appeared was this wonderful one. I think I was nice enough to circle it for you, but this one was about 40 feet tall. You can kind of see the head outline and the body through the skyline. And that's about 40 feet tall. And
amazing.
That was one of the larger ones. That's actually the one who told us it was time to leave and literally pushed over a tree right in front of us, letting us know it was time to leave.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Yep, I'm going. See you later. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for the warning."
Yep.
So this is our good friend Mary Bassett. She says she has a fabulous picture that she took of the woods of elementals, like where she lives. It's like it's beautiful scenery out there. So I mean that's pretty amazing. And then we got our good buddy from across the border, Ron, Mexico. Ron, thank you for joining us, buddy.
Ron,
it's always good to see you. I've just started hearing more and more stories about elementals. Like I've always heard about them.
Yeah.
But I see, it seems to be that more and more people are talking about them.
Yes.
So is this like a sudden, like all of a sudden they're like, okay, here we are. We're
a lot of people had a misunderstanding or identifying spirits or elementals as spirits, not realizing that they were elementals. And so a lot of times they do get misconstrued about what they're actually dealing with. I had to go clear a house where I thought I was going to clear a house where we thought there was a spirit that was being a little over anxious to someone. And we went to that location and I could feel the anxiousness she was feeling. And I was like, this isn't a spirit. This is an elemental. It's an earth elemental. Has your house been worked on recently? And she said, yes. Someone flipped it before I moved in and they didn't finish the basement. So the elemental was down there trying to fix the earth in the basement that he had torn up.
Wow.
So the anxiousness she was feeling was not from spirit. It was just the elemental being so large and so gregarious that it just overwhelmed her and it made her scared. And when I went down to confront it, it actually, we had a discussion. We were trying to film it and it actually sucked the life out of our batteries. And then it threw rocks at me. And there were 5 of us down there. And all of a sudden they see these rocks come flying out of the other room where I'm at with it. And it was like, they were like, what was that? I'm like, it got mad at me and threw rocks at me. So we had to have a discussion and everything became copacetic. The house calmed down. She's very much, it allows her to stay in the premise and be calm. And in turn, she will bring down like flowers and stuff that she shows that she's helping support the growth of the earth and everything else. So, yep.
Portals.
Yes.
You mentioned portals.
Sure
I
did.
purposely, in my hallway here, I have a mirror across from a mirror because that's supposed to trigger that. I try to trigger things here. I told her backstage a little bit about me. But anyways, there must be more than one type of portal. And you must have seen, I mean, you could probably describe more than one. Would you mind doing that for us?
No, one of the first portals I came across it's very odd. It was, we were located, we were doing an investigation. There was 6 or 7 of us at the investigation. We walked into this house, and I just happened to see, I look over at a picture, and there is a swirl on the picture that I can see underneath one of the legs of, because there was a piano painted on the picture, and I can see where the swirl was. I go, there, we have a portal over there. And so just know that we know this for stupid reasons, that I have no fear of anything. And I always tell people it's because I'm too dumb to know any better. It's really the true story behind that. So I walked over to put my hand on the portal because I wanted to feel its energy. And it literally was like 2 magnets that wouldn't touch. It repelled me. It pushed me away. It would not allow me to touch the energy of the portal. Whereas later, one of our other teammates came in and I told her where the portal was and she wanted to feel it. And she had to get grabbed and pulled back because it tried pulling her in. And it was actually a portal that was created by a dark witch who invited in an evil being and trapped it in the house. So that was one form of a portal we came up against. I've also felt portals. For those who haven't met me before, I am Indigenous as well as Norse. So a lot of times I'll feel those different types of portals, and I felt an Indigenous portal. There was one actually at a farm property I was at, and I can feel the portal to where the spirit of the Indigenous people would walk through the same time every evening, because they would come out of the forest and they would head into the grasslands where they would hunt. So I was able to see that, and the people I was with, we actually caught recordings of the Indigenous people basically talking as they walked through that portal. So it was kind of cool. So we've seen a couple of different ones. I've seen a water portal happen as well. We've seen a portal in a well where something that was making the land sick. In order for us to stop being able to find it, it actually went into a well and portal, and we actually had to find a way to get into the portal, physically grab it through the portal and pull it out, and remove it from the property. So that was a little interesting. And of course, I was the one volunteered to do that. So that was fun. But yeah, so there's been a handful of different portals that we've seen. We've also used kind of what you would expect, like a scrying ball or something along, or a scrying mirror, to where we're in separate rooms and someone is watching what's happening in the room we're in through the portal that they're watching through the sphere or through the mirror. So even though they turn their head and watch us, they get a totally different image of what's happening by looking into this portal and seeing what's going on in the room. For instance, when they were watching us through the portal, it was an area that was very high activity that did not want to let us leave. So he could see like it looked like a red energy gate or a fence that was put up, like an electric fence that he could see through it, that did not want to let us go. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's Wow, that is like so much information to take in. Like my mind's got like 30 million questions now.
Sorry. I
No,
do that.
no. I mean, hey, this is why we do the show. I mean, it's not only about you know us learning, but I mean, how many more people have never really had to deal or even know what a portal is, let alone elementals, or even how a portal would become? I mean, because I mean, by pure ignorance, most people say, well, a portal, it's got to be a part of the demonic world because what demons only come through, but
Right.
it is not
Absolutely not.
true. I mean,
Absolutely not.
I mean, portals are used for different modes. I mean, even Bigfoot himself has been said to use portals
Yep.
to get from or escape or get to an area without what they're seeing or whatever it might be. But I mean, I don't necessarily look at a portal as being a bad thing.
Right.
I really in the paranormal, I don't look at anything being a bad thing. It's what you make of it.
Right.
But it's pure education is why we're here talking about what we're talking about today. Like even elementals, people even say they are not all good. Well, I mean,
Well,
everything has good and bad. There's probably are some bad elementals out there, but as the ones you are describing, they're here to do good. Like they're here, they've got a purpose.
explain that? Can I take a second to explain that? I think I
Yes.
can clear this up with a very simple statement. Elementals can care less what we think. They do not understand good and bad. They only understand what they are there for. If we understand that as being something bad, that does not necessarily mean they look at it being bad. They don't have that understanding. Fire wipes out stuff. People are like, oh, fire elementals are bad. They wipe out things. No, fire elemental knows I need to clear this area so life can grow back into it. And so they don't have that consciousness like we do of good and evil. They just know this is my role. This is what I'm here for. How you perceive it is up to you. But I do not perceive it that way. I only know what I'm doing.
Right. And I mean, thank you. I mean that is probably the most clearest example of this is what they are. They have a job. We all have a purpose in life. We're all here for a purpose.
Right.
Some of us know what that purpose is. Some of us are still trying to figure out what that purpose is. But I mean, they know, just like you said, they are here. They're here to do a job. They do their job, and then they go back and wait for their next turn to come up again.
Correct.
Now, would you say elementals are of an indigenous descent? Because we all know, like, native indigenous people are all about the land or all about the environment. It's like they lived off this land. They never needed anything to create
Right.
their lifestyle. They created their lifestyle.
My simple answer to that is no. It's not simply from indigenous. Hi, Ingrid. But it's also, I mean, Norse mythology believes in them. Druid mythology believes in them. All these different types of people or ancestors who work with Earth. That they're all part of that Earth process, and all of them have a belief. Even if they don't call them elementals, it is the same thing. They have that same belief that there is something there to protect the Earth. We just know them as elementals, even though they have been named other things in different cultures.
Right. And that's fair to say because I mean cryptids like I mean Bigfoot has so many different names, but at the bottom line it's most people would know it as a Bigfoot. But
Mhm.
depending on where you live, what you're from and what you believe in,
Yep.
it could be a Sasquatch. In Canada we call them Sasquatch.
Yep.
Because of it's an indigenous thing. Indigenous people gave it the name Sasquatch.
Yep.
But when you put it all together, I mean, they're all the same, and it just determines your culture is who, and the name that they come from. But they all do the same job.
Right. And I believe Bigfoot is along the same lines, not as far as where they're from, but Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, all of them are their own cultures, their own ethnicities.
Right.
As far as I know, you can even say they're from their own planets, galaxies, whatever else. And I just think our planet is simply a stepping stone between portals for them to travel through, which is why I think they're here and they're gone so fast, because they know where they are and we just don't identify them.
And what's interesting, I just recently heard, I've heard it over the last few years on podcasts, whatnot, but I just, sometimes you hear something, you get a eureka, like a refresher. Oh yeah. So we're talking about portals where Dale, I think, mentioned Bigfoot can come and go pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But also with Dogman, people report hearing in a lot of cases the sound of a massive steel door being shut.
Yep.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That is not unfamiliar to me. There's a lot of places where Dogman has been seen, but and they mentioned there's always some sound of a metal bang or a steel bang or something along the lines, but yet they're in locations where there's no metal.
Right. Okay.
And you're like, well, that's kind of odd. Why does it sound like this? And I'm standing in the middle of an open area and I'm looking at rocks. There's no metal out here. So, types of things. So, yeah. So it could be just something that how they come through, kind of like a sonic boom. That's what they're hearing when the energy comes through behind them. That's what they're hearing, or that's what we're hearing. So
yeah, these creatures are beings, however you want to, whatever resonates with you, whatever they are. I don't know where they're coming from, but they're not of this earth. I don't care what people say. They both are known to have mind speak. Mm-hmm. And it's like full on conversations. People have described that. There's a gentleman we know here in Ontario where we're from. That'd be like a state. It's a province of Ontario and Canada here for us. He's about 6 hours up the road. He's got what he runs. It's called Sasquatch Ontario. He's been talking to a family for over 10 years. And he's got vocals. They're even saying his name like on recording. It's amazing stuff. I'll give you his info after if you want, just to check it out. Going back to elementals real quick, I'm sorry to keep chopping on that topic. Now you say how they appear. I'm just curious because there's a lot of theories on shadow beings. Okay. Mm-hmm. And a shadow being could be an alien. It could be an interdimensional, but why could it not be an elemental as well? I just thought of this while we're talking here.
An elemental is either seen or it's not seen. There's no in between. It's not something that has that peripheral vision ability that you'll catch a glimpse of. And I think that ties simply because you're either in a spirit world or you're here to see, either to be seen, whereas the elementals are simply from the environment. So they don't have that shadow figure. I don't want to say ability, but that's not part of their, because they're just elements. They're just from the environment. They're not spiritual, so that you don't see them in that glimpse.
Okay.
Now,
thank you.
Yeah. Now, one question that popped into my mind. Now, similar to Bigfoot, Bigfoot has been known to be able to transform himself into like an orb-like ball to travel around.
Right.
People say if you see an orange glowing ball going through the woods, that they usually relate that to a Bigfoot.
Right.
That they're going. Now, do elementals travel the same way, or are they'll just blend into their environment or their element and just...
That's exactly what they do. They will blend into their element. When I was at Hawaii, and then we went to this one location where my buddy Joe tells the stories to, because he's a storyteller. He likes to talk about the ancestry of the islands and their beliefs and everything else, and he keeps it alive through story, just as they always have. When I got there, the wind, it was dead calm until I got there, and when I got there, the wind just started howling. And he said, there is an energy in the air I've never felt before. What is this? I'm like, the air elementals on the island know I'm here, and they're welcoming me to your island and letting me know that we are protected by them. And this is how it's going to go. And they walked us, basically. I could see them basically tree hopping, is what I call it. But They could not. They could just feel the wind and the static in the air and everything else. Well, as soon as we got by the water, the wind left, and they did not see it leave. It went completely calm, and the stream that we went by picked up its speed, and it actually widened by about 4 inches because of how much water was coming down. And they went, "What just happened?" And I'm like, "Air elementals left us, letting us know we're protected now by the water elementals, and they're showing that they are here." So they live in their environment. They show by their environment.
Okay.
And simply by doing something like that, so you won't see them as an orb or anything else. It's simply the environment they live in, but they will let you know they are there simply by doing what they do best. So that's being in that element that they're part of.
I mean, that's all fascinating. So, I mean, you're used to seeing them because you've been doing this for a while now. Now, if somebody was trying to communicate with them or discover if they have elementals around,
Talk.
what would be the best way for them, or what would be, I guess, a way for them to communicate so that they can get to know who they're being surrounded by?
Simply talk. The same way it is with spirit is the same way it is. Like I said, elementals will not always. They will not always present themselves to people, but they will want you to know that they're around because they're working. So if you're in an area and something is going on, and or there's nothing going on, and you're like, "Hey, I would really like to know if you're here or not," and all of a sudden something as simple as it's been calm all day long, and all of a sudden you get the gust of wind that blows through, and then it stops 10 minutes later and it's completely calm again, they have just answered you.
Okay.
If there's some form of disturbance in whatever part that is, that is itself presenting you. The hardest one to get to interact is fire. It is. I don't want to say it's a diva, but fire will only present itself in the absolute necessary regions that it needs to. It does not discriminate. It is not selfish. It does not say, "You know what, that guy's a serial killer, I'm going to take his house." No, that's not how it works. When you see it being cleared, when you see forest being cleared by the fire, it is because that fire elemental has decided this ground is no longer good. It needs to be burnt so it can rise up again, and that's them working in tandem. Fire will clean, water will drop, earth will go ahead and start churning up the ground and let life come back into it.
So, Tom, interesting. Dale mentioned you've been doing this a long time, but it's really only been 3 years.
3 years. I'm 52 now. I'm 52 now, and I started when I was 49.
And to hear you talk and share your experiences and your knowledge, it sounds like you've been doing this 30 years. I kid you not. I don't spread cheeks here. I'm calling it like I see it.
No, I appreciate it. And I can kind of tell you why I think that is.
Yes, sir.
I teach by trade. I'm an instructor by trade, so I'm up in front of talking to people in trade. But when I ran into that elemental that threw rocks at me, it ran from me initially. It knew I was there, and it stepped away from me. And I said, "Why are you walking away from me? Because I can watch it walk away." And he goes, "Because your essence is older than I am." And
Wow.
I went, "Well, how old are you?" And it went, "I am 15,000 years old."
Jesus.
So talking to people who have been doing this for a while, and when we sit down and we talk, they can look at me, or they look at me, and they're like, the reason your stuff happens so fast is because you've been doing it for so many lifetimes in the past. It becomes immediate to you, which is why they say it hit me like a ton of bricks, drinking from a fire hose, like I call it, because it's so familiar to me in my past lives. It just took so long for it to open up in this life. So
now you've moved on. So you have a live stream. It's called Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book, a podcast called Stuff You Never Learned. Originally, you created this. It was a place for people not unlike yourself, believing they have paranormal gifts. It was like an outlet so they could get there and be around others,
questions,
a feeling of belonging, right?
Right.
They
were outcast. They didn't feel like they were alone. They can ask questions. I would invite people on who were veterans, as I call them, or experienced, and they can answer our questions if we had them. And that's why Stuff I Never Learned from the School Book, because initially when I came into it, I only had a couple people I could turn to, but I was very naive as well. I figured once I learned I had abilities, we all had the exact same abilities. Come to find out that is wrong. Because they were doing things I couldn't do and I was doing things they couldn't do. And asking one or two people was not cutting it. I needed to know more. So I built the community of stuff I never learned from a school book. And I call them my family, the audience, my family, because they come in and they ask questions and they engage. And they just want to soak up knowledge. And it's fantastic that we get the chance to help each other. And that's how that came about to being.
Okay. Now apparently it's built up.
My goodness. Yeah.
It's come a long way. You have people, they talk about their alien encounters, so UFO encounters, cryptids, witches, empaths, investigators, life healing instructors. You got guides. It's got anything and everything, A to Z. The creeps, the freaks, and the weirdos, as we love to call them. And that's the highest honor when we say that to anybody.
Right.
That's a compliment.
Numerologists, astrologists, tarot readers, starseed people people can tell you actually what starseed you are from and where your starseed soul originated from. I have them all on, but even though I have every single person on from all walks of life, my first question is always the same. My show is like yours. It's never canned. But my first question always is, how did you get started and what brought you into this? Because it is a learning environment, and I need people to understand that you can come from any walk of life at any age, at any point, and step into this, whether you're attempting to or whether, like I did, by accident. And so it's very important for that first story to be told by that person, so it still has the educational side to it of why I built stuff I never learned from a school book.
Right.
And then after that, we can talk about whatever they want. But they still have to have that understanding that this is not expected to be the same for anybody.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, I just want to go back a little bit. So you got hit with all this 3 years ago. And I mean, but you really didn't have anything out of the ordinary happen to you throughout your life up to the point of 49 years old. You're now going into your first investigation, and you are just getting bombarded by information in this location, and you're discovering you have all these gifts at once. I mean, I know people usually start out, they know they have something, freaks them out. They just kind of turn it off or just ignore it. And then later on in life, they kind of just give in and say, okay, let's do this.
Right. Yep.
So
I will let you know that I did have a small inkling, but it took me getting my abilities to understand what that inkling was in the past. And that really is something as simple as I'm prior military. I used to run a team on the ground, and we were always a very small unit, and I was our team lead. All right. I had the uncanny ability, and it never failed. It kept so much of us alive because of this. I could sense before something, like I can say, okay, everyone stop, cover. And at first they'd ask, why are we covering? We're not getting any information. We're not hearing anything. We would cover, and all of a sudden a larger patrol would come walking by or rolling by or something else. And they were like, how did you do that? I'm like, gut feeling. Don't know, gut feeling. And after it happened for like the first 2 or 3 times, they were like, stop asking why it's happening. Just fucking cover. Sorry, just cover.
Just do it.
And that became something that we relied upon heavily. The best way to say it is my sixth sense about what was about to happen. And it has seemed to carry over to something as stupid as sportscasting. I'll be watching a stupid football game, and they'll be driving down the field, and I'm like, don't jump off sides. And the very next play, they jump off sides. And they're like, what? Why did you call that? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I saw it coming. And so it's just always kind of been a sixth sense. And then when this happened, I'm like, oh, this must have been part of it, that was taking place. And I just didn't recognize it was happening until now I know what I'm doing. Well, not really. I'm still in the learning stage, as all of us are. But at least I understand more about it now. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is it. I mean, our gifts, we never truly understand the full extent of our gifts or even know the abilities that we have, because we're always learning more and something else will happen. And it just keeps triggering one another thing will trigger and stuff like that. So no, we truly don't know it. And I know me and Michael John feel the same way. Those people out there that calls themselves expert or professionals. And I'm like, okay, exactly what are you an expert of or
Yeah.
a professional of? I mean, I've been doing this over a decade now, and every time I turn around, I'm always learning something new. But that's me. Like I have the sign that I'm always wanting to learn,
Right.
and I think that's my driving force in the paranormal. I do have some gifts, but my always wanting to know more drives me, and
Right.
I think this is amazing. And like I said, first learning everything about you, and I'm like, wow. I mean, this guy has gifts that people wish they had, and
I didn't know
understanding of
that.
elementals. I
I didn't
have
know
never
that.
met anybody with so much knowledge of them,
Thank you.
but I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So
Thank you.
thank you so much. I mean, like just learning all this, it'd be like now I've got a lot of research ahead of me now.
I
Thanks,
always,
Tom.
I
Is
always
this
tell
my
people,
homework from your school book?
yes, yes. Everyone takes something home for homework. But no, I've always told, I've stolen it. I've only had one mentor in my entire life, well, my entire 3 years. And she just kind of pushed me along the right direction at fast. Her name is Joni White Buffalo. She's actually up there in Canada as well. She is a shaman, Lakota, and she initially told me, "Look, you're never going to know it all." And
Right.
this is my need to crave knowledge. And she goes, "You'll never know it all." And she said, so I said, "Well, is it okay if I identify myself as a practicing intuitive?" She said, "Absolutely." She goes, "That's a perfect title because a lot of people will have a lot of different gifts, but they will call themselves by what their prominent gift stands out. I'm a medium. I'm a psychic. I'm a tarot reader. I'm whatever." Unfortunately, none of mine have broken out of the pack yet. So I'm just simply a practicing intuitive, trying to take in everything I can on all of them. But I also tell people I am absolutely the laziest person you'll ever know because I don't meditate. I don't do all this stuff to try to make myself better. If it presents itself to me and I have the opportunity to learn it, fantastic. If not, it's not meant for me in the first place. So,
Tom, what I want to ask you,
sure.
with the opportunity for these people to get together with you and the like everybody else to learn about themselves and to grow and get better and understand more about what their gifts are or what they don't even know they have yet.
Right.
People listening, watching right now, listening on after the fact here, however that's going to be, how can they get involved with you and be a part of this group?
If you're looking for my show specifically or something along those lines, is that what you're asking?
You specifically. It's about you.
Okay. So. If you're looking for mine, I run a site called Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book. It's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram, and they're all shortened to Stuff I Never Learned. All is one word, because otherwise everything else just runs really, really, really long. It's all just called Stuff I Never Learned under all four of those umbrellas. My Gmail is even the same way. I have a Gmail you can contact me at, ask questions, anything you want. It's called stuffineverlearned@gmail.com. Pretty simple. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. My my live stream, like you guys are doing here, runs every other Monday night. And the weeks that I'm not doing the live stream, I just simply put out a 15 to 20 minute podcast about what's going on in my head. Like my last one, the one I'm about to do is simply comparing and contrasting angels and dragons, how they are similar, how they are different. Why do the colors of the green dragon do life, death, and rebirth, while as our green angel is all about healing? Why is the white dragon holiness and purity, while as our white angel is all about holiness and purity? And why does Western culture and Western European identify dragons as evil, as is written in some of the scripture, but right. Other places, such as Native or Asian culture, sees it as a positive, as a blessing. Yeah. So that's my next podcast coming out is comparing and contrasting those two. So
that, I mean, I definitely got to watch that one because that is definitely and it's people's take on things
Right.
but it's interesting. That's the stuff that keeps me up all night, and that's why I suffer from insomnia because I'll be lying in bed and I'll be like, why does a dragon breathe fire? Why
Right.
does a penguin walk the way they do?
Yeah. Why
but
don't
I
people
mean,
try? Yeah. Yep. I'm the same way. I sleep on average about 3 to 4 nights, 3 to 4 hours a night.
yeah.
That's my typical. So
Oh, that is so. Let's see what could we ask you to try. So you're in the Nebraska area.
yep,
So
Omaha, Nebraska.
what is the
Hi, Kelly.
big uh, paranormal thing in Nebraska?
So Nebraska has a couple of smaller ones, but actually I am 10 to 15. Hi, Kelly. She's actually part of my Paranormal Existence Research Society team. There's actually, I'm right 10 minutes across from Iowa, and right across the border from us, we actually have the Squirrel County Jail, which is actually the oldest round like squirrel cage jail there is, called the Squirrel Cage Jail. It only housed so many people. And you would have the person on top who was the warden, and all the prisoners were underneath, and some of them were crushed by when it spun because there's only one way in, one way out. Someone would try to escape, and they would spin it and it would crush the person.
Good God.
But we're also very well known for Malvern Manor that Josh Hurd owns, and he's over in Malvern, Iowa, and that place has held many different titles. Poorhouse, hospital, asylum, a lot of different things. And so it has a lot of historic information as well as spiritual information that happens. It's kind of cool to go there during day. Hi, Rosie. And during night, two totally different lives between daytime and nighttime at Malvern Manor. Daytime is open to the public. You can walk in, pay a small fee, go check it out, get cool things on your video, get cool things on your audio, unless you're me, and then it just erases it all like it did before. And the other thing it will do is at nighttime, it turns dark and it turns evil, and that's when the darker spirits come out and try to actually literally picked up one of my friends who is about 6'3", probably about 340, picked him up out of his cot and drug him across the floor while he was sleeping.
Damn.
So it definitely has two sides of the coin. I'm also very close to the Valiska Axe House. So those are all pretty close to me. Yep, that was my wife chiming in right there.
Hi, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
House. Yep, that's I normally say it and then she writes it, so that's kind of how that worked right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're 45 minutes away from there. So we have a lot of local stuff, but there's a lot of untapped here, at least for the majority of the public. There's a lot of untapped, like we've seen it, we've gone to it, we've investigated it. There's another place and we want to go investigate relatively soon once the weather turns nice. It is actually an identified place where a burial for a Native American chief. And about 20 years later, the Christians wanted to claim it, so they built the church right on top of the land. So I want to go investigate that place to see what kind of she's correcting me. But these are the kind of places we want to go investigate that are untapped. And if we find stuff, we want to help explain that where it's at, so other people that are interested come to it.
And that's fascinating. And I mean, that's I think that has a lot of activity. I know where we are, there is a lot of indigenous land, and now it's built upon, and people are always saying they have a lot of activity in their house, and I'm like,
Yep.
well, yeah, you pissed them off. You you put your house on top of them.
Yeah.
So real quick here, I mean, like this hour flew by real quick. I mean, you have a military background, and now, and I know the military was very famous for teaching their soldiers how to do remote viewing.
Yes.
Now,
Ooh.
are you able to do that?
I can remote. surprisingly enough, I taught myself how to remote view and I taught myself how to astral travel without knowing that's what I was doing. When I explained it to somebody, someone said, "How on earth did you put yourself into self hypnosis so you can remote view? Or how did you put yourself into that remote or that state that you can astral travel?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just willed it." And they're like, "That's insane." So yes, I can. My remote viewing is limited right now. I'm still working on being able to look at a larger area. I normally come into the smaller area, so I don't get to identify fully where I am. But the astral travel is pretty immediate. I can do it at any point. I taught myself how to help self hypnosis, and then I can travel. Tested it out by meeting my mentor at a certain location that she always astral travels to, and she said, "Find me here," and I did. So
Wow.
it was pretty interesting. Yeah.
And it's funny how because I mean, for the little bit that I know about those two topics, you would think that so astral travel is something you got to meditate, kind of get into a state to do,
Right.
Whereas the other
should be easier. Should be easier. And
yeah,
remote
the opposite.
Yeah.
It's amazing that
Absolutely.
Everybody's different, right? So it's just amazing that it's the opposite for you. I've never, again, I haven't. I know I've met a few people that do it. Dale and I have talked about wanting to do remote viewing.
Yeah.
And then, it's one of those things we talk about it in passing, then, next chapter kind of thing, you forget about it. Then you have those eureka moments like right now, and it's a reminder. Thank you. But yeah, wow. I just want to comment, wow. It's so interesting.
Pretty weird.
Now, one last quick question.
Sure.
Have you ever had a UFO experience?
Not to my knowledge. That is something that I am still very much a novice at. It's not because I haven't tried. It's simply because they have not, as far as I know, consciously, possibly subconsciously, but consciously, they have not made themselves readily available to me. So, unfortunately, no, not on that side.
Wow. And I mean, it'll probably happen. If anything's going to happen to you, it seems like you ask for it, it will eventually show up in its presence to you.
That's how I learned I can see auras. Two people I was sitting with really quick said, "Hey, can you see auras?" And I instantly saw their auras. I'm like, "Yep." And they said, "What's the color of our auras?" And I told them both, and they were like, "That's amazing. Like yours is blue, and Michael John's right now, or yours is blue, yes, and Michael John's right now is yellow." So,
wow,
stop it!
It happens rapidly. So,
wow, what does it mean? What does the color mean?
Unfortunately, I have no idea what the colors mean. Okay. I just can see the colors, but you can simply look them up online. That's what most people do. Know that you have one solid, absolute aura color, and you can have layered auras, and those normally generate with your mood, your emotion, sickness, whatever else may be happening to you, and your outer auras will change color.
Okay, wow. I will definitely look that up.
Absolutely. But Tom, I just want to say thank you so much for taking your time to really, I mean, wow, what a learning session this was. I mean,
I appreciate
it. Our audience learned so much about elementals, say portals, and everything else to go along with it. So I'm going to give you a very quick moment here. Tell us where we can find you, where you going to be if you are at any events, so people who want to come out and talk to you in person.
Sure.
The stage is all yours.
I appreciate it. So those of you who know me know I mostly do everything online. I'm not really one that goes out and about to places yet. I haven't. I've been asked to do vendor stuff, but I haven't yet. But I'm going to be roaming the Holistic Fest here in Omaha, Nebraska. That is coming up on the 23rd and 24th of March. That's how I actually find local people who have abilities, and I resonate with their energies really well and bring them on my show so they have a platform to talk to. Other than that, contact me through email. If you have questions, concerns, anything along those lines, you can reach out at me at stuffineverlearned@gmail.com. Otherwise, come watch me on my show.
Absolutely amazing. Like I said, Tom, thank you so much for talking to us today. It was a great pleasure getting to know you. I look forward to meeting you again down the road.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can meet out in person sometime and just hang out. And I want to be around you and see you connection around these elementals, because
Appreciate it.
I would love. I mean, I would love to be able to do what you can do and be able to see them and watch them do what they do. So yeah, no, absolutely. So thank you so much once again.
I appreciate it.
It's been a great pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
And I also want to say thank you so much, Tom, for taking time for us, taking time, of course, for the creeps, the freaks, the weirdos, the TPV Nation, everybody from day one to day now. We don't get to do what we're doing, and that is this right here, right now, without all of you, without all the support we get along the way from anyone and everyone. Thank you to all our guests, of course, great guests like Tom Springer. Tom, I'll tell you what, there is an energy tonight, almost a feeling, a different type of mood tonight. And I think it's something to do with you and your energy. I really feel different in a positive way. And again, like I said earlier, I do not spread cheeks. You know what I mean? I say it as we go here, brother. And that's it. So thank you so much for that. Tom Springer, ladies and gentlemen, man with abilities, literally listing from A to Z, psychics, mediumship abilities, elementals, speaking different dimensions, healing others, touching, burst energy, or identification, just to name a few. Dale's was blue, mine was yellow. I'm definitely checking that out after the show to find out what the heck that's all about. Definitely excited for that. Thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. Facebook, YouTube, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get our numbers up. Please and thank you for that. And of course, later on, you can listen Saturday nights, 1 a.m., KGRA Digital. That is worldwide, folks. Anywhere, any type of live stream, you can hear the Paranormal Voice, Windsor, Ontario's own. Are we frozen or what? Can you guys? Oh, no. Okay. I swear everybody was frozen. That was weird. Okay. Anyways, in the meantime and in between time, thank you all again. We'll see you all on the other side. Happy hauntings.
Happy hauntings.